Good afternoon, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ and here is your detailed afternoon update for February 7th, 2025 on the floods and rainfall situation up in North and far North Queensland. Plenty more rainfall is still to come on top of the couple of 100mm that fell last night, and flooding is expected across major rivers across North Queensland. We're going to be talking about all of that in detail in today's forecast update. If you are brand new to the channel, please consider subscribing and also leave a like on the video while you're at it, but let's get stuck straight into things this afternoon with a look at the radar and satellite imagery. You can already start to see there's plenty of convection in the Gulf of Carpentaria right now. Heavy rain over Mornington Island, that's streaming into North Queensland at this time, with heavy falls being reported over the last 12 hours around Croydon and Georgetown. Now, there's thunderstorms and showers beginning to develop along a dry line that's beginning to move in towards the Atherton tablelands at this time. Now, these showers and thunderstorms will pick up steam throughout this afternoon and evening, and we're expecting heavy falls to develop around the Atherton tablelands tonight. We're also expecting moderate to heavy falls further south through North Queensland along the coastline, on top of the couple of 100mm that fell last night, with peak falls at Anna Station outside of Charters Towers up to 245mm, and heavy falls around Bowen up to 140mm, and isolated pockets receiving up to 200mm around the Whitsundays. Townsville didn't escape it either, with 120mm being the maximum accumulations in the town centre, with falls widespread between 75 and 95mm there, and heavy rainfall also reported along the Cassowary coast as well. However, it was more sort of from showers and heavy stints of rainfall as opposed to deluges that lasted hours upon hours. You can also see plenty of showers and thunderstorms, plenty of moisture and convective activity in the Coral Sea as well, and this is all because of the monsoon trough that set itself up attached to a strong low pressure system in the Gulf of Carpentaria, heading out across the Cape York Peninsula and then into the Coral Sea as well, and that's what's funneling all of this rainfall ashore into North Queensland over the last couple of days, and also for the next couple of days as well. It is a completely separate rainfall event than what happened about a week ago now, with that 1500mm or so around the Cardwell Gap area. However, it is just a very unfortunate coincidence that they've happened in such short stints of time, but they are two completely separate weather systems. Let's jump straight into the forecast right now. That is enough waffle on what's going on. Certainly people starting to get bored by now, but let's talk about the forecast. Unfortunately, it is not a pretty one. You can see plenty of showers and thunderstorms expected to develop over the coming couple of hours along the Cassowary coast, like I said, especially into the Atherton tablelands, and by this evening we're expecting heavy falls around the Tully, Innisfail and Ravenshoe, Atherton and Mareeba area. We're going to be seeing isolated heavy falls and showers north into the Daintree rainforest as well, about as far north as Mount Carbine, Laura and Cooktown. Also heavy falls streaming into the Cairns area, with northerly winds tending to winds out of the east, just providing a perfect setup for heavy showers and thunderstorms along the Cassowary coast, especially for locations between Cairns down to Ingham, with the heaviest falls between Tully and Ingham expected there. You can see on the convective forecast models, which normally do pretty well when you're talking about showers and thunderstorms, especially for North Queensland, some very heavy falls are expected, and these are going to be big showers as well, tending to rainfall at times, with heavy falls expected to be funneled into the Bender area between Tully and Townsville later on tonight, which will tend into heavy rain, which will slowly creep out to sea and then further down the coastline, with moderate falls expected around Townsville later tonight. These showers and storms will ease off throughout the early hours of tomorrow morning, and they will pretty much clear out of North Queensland actually for the most part by tomorrow mid-afternoon, before another resurgence of showers pipes up again on a Saturday afternoon and into Saturday evening, where we'll be seeing some really heavy falls as well, but I'll get to that in just a few moments. But yeah, I do really like the North Queensland models convective forecast here. Like I said, the convective forecast models, they can either hit the nail on the head or they can miss it by a million miles, and I do believe that the Axis North Queensland model here has hit the nail on the head, and it's hit it very, very well. So what the forecast is suggesting here is pretty much exactly how it's going to pan out, give or take a few discrepancies. The rainfall forecast can give you an idea of how intense some of the rainfall is expected to be, but again, because we're talking about a convective forecast model, take this with a heavy pinch of salt. But you can see, like I said, the heaviest falls between Cairns down towards Townsville, with the absolute heaviest falls between Tully down to Ingham. Peak falls tonight, I would not be surprised if we were looking at 200 to 300mm as well around the Cardwell Gap area and around Cardwell. Like 300mm is on the forecast here. Like I said, the Axis has definitely hit the nail on the head here. I would not be surprised if 12-hour accumulations widespread were between 100 and 250mm, and isolated totals up to 350mm are possible. There is currently a severe weather warning out for heavy rainfall stretching between Innisfail down the coastline to Ayr. I reckon that could be cancelled for Townsville and Ayr. Whilst there will be heavy showers in the vicinity, it's just not going to be enough rainfall to kind of prompt a severe weather warning, but we're still definitely talking about the risk of heavy showers down south of Townsville as well. But the heaviest falls, where they're very predictable at this time, and where we are expecting a couple of 100mm tonight into early tomorrow morning, and then again tomorrow night into Sunday and Monday morning, the heaviest falls are going to be around the Cardwell, Ingham and Tully area, feeding into the Herbert and the Tully rivers is where we're expecting the heaviest falls. But you can see widespread falls above 100 to 150mm expected north of Tully as well, up through Innisfail, Belen and Kirk could also pick up some good rainfall as far north as Gordonvale as well. Even Cairns expecting about 50 to 100 millimetres later on tonight, and I reckon they'll get pretty close to the triple figure totals around the Cairns area. The way that the rainfall normally works around North Queensland is it's often many orders of magnitude heavier than what the forecast models are suggesting, and you can see here with the East Middle really not calling for much, just some piddly accumulations here and there around North Queensland. Normally a lot more rainfall does actually fall compared to what the forecast has to say, but the East Middle can give you a good idea, but the axis I feel like has really hit the nail on the head. So again, just to recap, those showers developing into this afternoon, they'll be developing by the time this video comes out, and then they'll be tending very heavy at times later on tonight and into early tomorrow morning, especially around the Cardwell area, where very heavy to locally intense falls are expected to occur tonight, and with rainfall accumulations tomorrow to the 9 a.m. tomorrow morning expected to be well in excess of 150 millimetres up there, with isolated spot totals up to 350 millimetres expected, which is not a good thing for the Herbert River, that is for sure, and I cannot stress that enough, that this is some dangerous rainfall that's coming through tonight. And again, it is going to be coming through from showers, so it'll be very hit and miss across some of these locations, especially as you get further north and further south of Cardwell and Ingham. But when those showers do hit, especially if they hit in an already flood-prone area around the Herbert River and the Herbert River catchment, we're going to be seeing some really significant flooding materialise as a result. Flicking it back to the regular forecast models here, you can see rainfall expected to ease off temporarily Saturday afternoon before piping up again late Saturday afternoon and into Saturday evening, with heavy falls once again around Cardwell, Ingham, Halifax and Lucinda, right through Saturday afternoon and evening through Sunday as well. The entire duration of Sunday we're expecting moderate rainfall to continue between Cairns down towards Townsville, with isolated heavy falls and heavy showers expected to pipe up Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon respectively around the Cardwell area and down towards Ingham as well. So it'd be a very similar forecast to how it was yesterday and how it's expected to be tonight, and also how it's going to be Saturday night as well. This is what's going to continue through Sunday night as well, and then again showers and thunderstorms continuing through Monday, as well as the bulk of this rainfall then heads offshore late Monday afternoon and evening, with one last resurgence of rainfall late Monday evening and into early Tuesday morning, and continuing through Tuesday afternoon for areas around Cardwell and Ingham as well. We're going to have one last resurgence of rainfall there after just multiple days of being absolutely smashed up there. The really good news is, though, from about Wednesday onwards, there will still be a few showers here and there, but definitely from Wednesday onwards beyond Thursday, we're expecting a return to the dry conditions up in North Queensland. Yes, there'll be a few showers out, but it'll be intermittent sunshine up there, and it really looks like we're not looking at any heavy rainfall throughout the remainder of this week after about Wednesday, or this coming week after about Wednesday. And that is some very good news. It will definitely be a much needed break for the flooded rivers there that are very much struggling. So the good news is that the rainfall, there's a number of days now until this rainfall, all the really heavy stuff does begin to ease off, and it looks like we might be looking at a week and a half, or even 2 weeks of pretty dry conditions around Townsville and Cardwell, which will give them enough time to kind of dry out, and even looking much further out into the forecast period, whilst there is another rainfall event that has rumbles of activity kind of surrounding its name beyond about the 21st of February. As you can see on the forecast here, the rainfall does begin to pick up again. We're looking very long range, and it is an uncertain future here up in North Queensland, but what I can say for certain is that the rainfall is expected to drop off beyond about Wednesday, which is very, very good news indeed. But that's not before some significant rainfall accumulations are expected. So let's talk about those rainfall accumulations right now. Out to the end of Tuesday, over the next 5 days, we are expecting significant falls around the Tully and the Cardwell area. Like I've said, I wouldn't be surprised if 350 or 300 to 350 millimetres fell around Cardwell. I would not be surprised if we were looking at about 700 to 800 millimetres up until Monday or Tuesday there. They've got some significant falls expected tonight, and also significant rainfall expected Sunday and Monday as well around Cardwell. So again, the maximum amount of rainfall that I do see as a potential on the forecast right now around Cardwell is up to about 800 to 850 millimetres. Keep in mind, for Cardwell Gap, that is on top of the, I believe it's now approaching 2,000 millimetres that they've had in the past week and a half. So we'll be looking at month-long rainfall accumulations up here well in excess of 3,000 millimetres, obviously making it the wettest month on record around the Cardwell Gap by a country mile as well. So some significant falls here expected to continue, and as such, more flooding is also expected to continue, and I'll get to the flooding aspect of this in just a few moments. But yeah, some really significant falls are expected. Tully, if I had to put a number on it, including tonight, the rainfall that's coming through tonight, about 600 millimetres can be expected there. Innisfail, I'd probably be talking about 300 to 400 millimetres for Innisfail, maybe slightly more than that, up to about 500 millimetres is possible. Bullen and Kerr, I'd say about 500 millimetres inland into Gordon Vale, Mareeba, Atherton and Raven, so between 200 to 300 millimetres expected there, and Cairns as well, between 200 to 300 millimetres. I'd be surprised if Cairns picked up more than 300 millimetres of rainfall, and I think anything over 200 millimetres for Cairns will actually be kind of more bonus rainfall for them. I don't really see a world where Cairns picks up more than 250 millimetres, but it is still possible and certainly still worth mentioning. Up into the Daintree rainforest, rainfall totals expected to be between 150 and 250 millimetres there, but on either side of the Daintree rainfall accumulations should be under 150 millimetres and nothing too significant. to report on there until you get south towards Kuranda and Cairns, where the rainfall will then begin to pick up again. Inland as well, along the trough line out towards Georgetown, Forsyth and Croydon as well, significant falls expected inland as well, between 150 and 350 millimetres there over the next 5 days, and significant falls expected also south of Cardwell down towards Ingham, which could look at up to about 500 millimetres. Halifax and Lucinda as well, about 500 millimetres. Paluma Dam as well, we'll probably be talking about rainfall accumulations there between 400 to 750 millimetres. A big scope of uncertainty there, but depending on what rainfall comes through, especially Sunday night through Monday and into early Tuesday morning, because that's where the bulk of the rainfall will then be, between Cardwell down towards Rollingston. Depending on what rainfall comes through there around the Paluma Dam, we could be talking about some really serious rainfall accumulations materialising there, like I said, up to that 750 millimetre mark, but it could completely bust again, and we won't be talking about too much rainfall there. Townsville, I reckon they're on the way out for rainfall accumulations. I still don't see a world where Townsville picks up less than 250 millimetres over the next 5 days, but in terms of the really serious stuff up above 400 or 500 millimetres, I reckon Townsville is out of the clear of that right now. I reckon Townsville will pick up about 250 millimetres, with the bulk of that stuff coming through Sunday, Monday and early Tuesday morning. And then locations further south of Townsville as well, Guru, Ayr, maybe 100 millimetres there, Bowen as well, maybe 100 millimetres, and then down towards Proserpine, Yalbury and Gargett. The majority of the rainfall has already fallen, whilst there will still be showers, which could be heavy at times in the vicinity there, and we can't be riding out spot accumulations over the next week up to about 300 millimetres around Proserpine. For the most part, the rainfall is now really beginning to ease off, which is very, very good news indeed, and very easy to digest as someone who is looking at the forecast here and has been absolutely horrified by some of the rainfall numbers that have been observed and also been forecast. So very good news for locations south of Ayr. The rainfall is now beginning to ease off, and it looks like it is now going to terminally ease off down there, with plenty of rainfall just around the Cardwell area is pretty much what's expected now for the North Queensland section. I think that's where the rainfall is going to be now on the Cassowary coast. That's exclusively where it's going to fall over the next 5 days. But yeah, nonetheless, some really significant rainfall accumulation still expected. Like I said, up to 850 millimetres around Cardwell. I would be very surprised if it pushed up to about a metre of rainfall there on the Cassowary coast, but again, 850 millimetres and a metre, there's not a huge difference there, and it's still going to cause dramatic flooding in the rivers around that area. So let's talk about that flooding risk right now. The Johnston rivers are around Innisfail. We're expecting some moderate flooding in there, especially from the showers that are going to come through later on this evening. They're already flowing at the minor flood alert at multiple locations around the Johnston River inland out towards Ravenshoe, and I do expect that there to be significant contributions to the water levels tonight, and as such, significant flooding can be expected in the Johnston River flowing through Innisfail. Both the south and the north Johnston rivers expecting significant flooding. Tully River as well, significant contributions expected tonight, especially out in its catchment. We're expecting up to about 300 millimetres, like I said, to flow through the Tully River, and as such, some significant rainfall, significant rises into the flood levels expected there as well. I would not be surprised if we were talking about moderate to even major flooding later on tonight into early tomorrow morning. So again, certainly a river to keep an eye on is the Tully River right now. Some significant rainfall accumulations can be expected there. South towards the Herbert River, it is dire straits, unfortunately, for the Herbert River. It's really hard to watch this and really hard to be able to say this as a forecaster, but again, we're expecting major flooding to continue around the Halifax area and significant flooding to occur upstream around Ingham and Trebon as well. Some significant contributions expected in the Girigan National Park to the water levels, and as such, if we saw 500 or 600 millimetres there over the next 4 days, we'd be talking about major flooding once again through Halifax. So don't be blindsided yet. Ingham, Halifax, Lucinda, the flooding situation is not over yet. Significant rises to the water levels can be expected over the coming couple of days, especially around the Cardwell Gap area and down towards Ingham. Plenty of rainfall in that vicinity there, and as such, significant rises to the water levels in the Stone and the Herbert rivers can be expected. Further south down at the Paluma River and then down towards Bluewater Creek, the Black River as well, and Alice River, plenty of rainfall is expected to move through there, and as such, significant flooding is also possible there. But considering we're more talking about showers, we're expecting some really significant contributions, which will cause some significant rises, some very quick, sharp rises, but they'll also cause some quick, sharp drops as well. So river levels along the Paloma Range National Park and the rivers that flow through them, we're expecting significant rises, but significant drops. So very variable river levels are expected over the next couple of days. The Bolly River and Lake Ross, I'm not expecting too much in the way of significant rises to the water levels there, whilst there will be significant contributions in terms of the rainfall tonight, and of course also through this weekend and into very early next week. I don't expect there to be too much in the way of crazy flooding. The Ross River is currently dumping water, and it's dumping water pretty well, and as such, especially on the outgoing tide, flooding is not expected to continue around the Ross River. However, already inundated communities will still continue to receive flash flooding and also minor riverine flooding over the coming couple of days. The Bolly River is a chance of getting up to the minor to the moderate, or even the major flooding alert as well around the Mount Bowl alert, and as such, we still need to be very vigilant around the Bolly River as well. the Horton River flowing through Guru. Whilst there will be significant contributions there, I'm not expecting massive rises in the Horton River, and moderate flooding is kind of the maximum that is expected. And the Burdekin River as well, minor to moderate flooding is what's expected there as well. And whilst the Pioneer River into Mackay is currently flowing at the moderate flooding alert, I expect that to be on the drop over the coming couple of days, and as such, water levels there around Mackay and Proserpine becoming less and less of a concern as time goes on. But yeah, still significant flooding possibilities around North Queensland, certainly a threat to be taking very, very seriously at this time, and I'm wishing everyone up in North Queensland my best throughout the remainder of this flooding emergency. It's not over yet. You've still got a couple more days, but come around Monday and Tuesday, we're looking at much less rainfall in the catchments, and as such, the river levels will finally begin to drop, and it looks like the massive, dramatic February 2025 floods, which will go down in history, by the way, for being some of the most damaging and destructive floods in not just Queensland, but Australian history as well, will be coming to an end by around Monday or Tuesday. Very, very excited for that day. But yeah, 2 weeks of torrential rainfall, and this is what's materialized out of it. Some more rainfall on the cards and some massive, massive flooding as well. I'll be keeping you posted here over the coming couple of days. Thank you so much for watching this forecast update right through. A special shout out to the channel sponsors. Their names are on screen right now, and again, their list just keeps on growing and growing and growing. So I do want to thank everybody on that list individually as well. So thank you so much for all of the support. Subscribe if you haven't already, but that is all from me today, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.